Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll be going through my tips for round 1 as well as doing my tips for round 2. I'm hoping to keep this to a shorter video as it helps with the editing as well as just keeping it compact for you guys, not trying to ramble on, etc. So yeah, before we get into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on. It has been massive growth recently. I believe we've had something like 20 odd to 30 odd subscribers in the last week alone. I know that sounds small, but that is absolutely huge for the channel. And yeah, just the numbers are absolutely blowing me away, to be honest. But anyway, so going into the tips for round 1 and just reviewing them quickly, I had Carlton by 36, and we obviously saw them win by 5 points in a really, really close one. So yeah, that was it was an alright tip. Obviously got the tip right, but got the margin well off. Had Sydney by 13. They're playing a lot better than Sydney by 13 at the moment, even against the defending premiers. They won by 33, but that was sort of it could have easily been 50 if the Swans really cared. They were up 51 points at one point in the last quarter, and then conceded a goal after the siren, a goal with like 2 minutes to go and stuff like that. So I'm not too. The Swans, yeah, they did pretty well in the end. They conceded 3 goals in the last 7 minutes of action. So yeah, not too worried about them not being able to score or finish off games. The game was dead, so it was fine. So yeah, the Swans in the end won by 33. Then we have Essendon versus Hawthorn. I said Essendon by 16 points. They won by 24, so that was a pretty good tip in the end as well. And yeah, so pretty happy about that one. GWS, I said GWS by 50 against North, and they ended up winning by 39. So another decent tip. North are actually really competitive, so that'll be one to put into the bank for their game against, I believe it's Freo this weekend. So yeah, I'm going to have to consider that. But again, Freo were really good against Brisbane in that game, so we'll get to that as well. Then I had Geelong by 15 at GMHBA, and Geelong ended up winning by 8 with a Paddy Dangerfield goal to seal it basically at the end of the game. So yeah, pretty happy about that in the end. 7 points off in that game is pretty good. Then I had Gold Coast by 17, and Gold Coast ended up winning by 6. I mean, if Gold Coast didn't concede 5 goals in the last quarter to 5 goals to 1 goal 3 in the last quarter. So yeah, I had the margin pretty much bang on at about 2 minutes to go, and then they conceded another goal or 2. So yeah, not too displeased about that, I guess. I got that margin relatively close. And then I had Melbourne by 16. They won by 45, so that was a little bit of a blowout. But yeah, got that right. I think Clary coming back and really providing an influence, and then going back to his best has really changed that around for Melbourne. And Western Bulldogs being bevoed yet again has really caused that to cause chaos, I guess. Then I had Port by 45 against the Eagles. Eagles actually looked pretty competitive. Obviously, will be a struggle this week without Allen. So I think they will be a little bit less competitive this week. But yeah, really happy with that pick as I was only 5 points off. And then my worst tip of the round, the only one that I got wrong, and they got it wrong by 63 points in the end, as I had Brisbane by 40, and they lost by 23 points, and fair play to Freo. I've underrated Freo this whole preseason, and they're probably going to prove me wrong. I don't know exactly from memory what I put them as the ladder, but that could be wrong. They look like a really strong side. Sarong has taken that. It looks like Sarong's taken that next step. Jackson in the ruck looks really good, so don't do that, Longmire. Don't put Jackson up forward. It statistically shows that Jackson should be playing in the ruck, and hopefully he plays him in the ruck like he should. So now we go to round 2. St Kilda versus Collingwood. Part of me wants to go St Kilda just because Max King could absolutely kick a bag, but I think with the teams now being revealed, I don't think Max King will kick as much of a bag with Billy Frampton now down back. I think that shores it up a little bit. Lockie Murphy only a couple of weeks away. So I'm going to go Collingwood, and I'm going to go Collingwood, I think, by... Let me just write this down for you guys so that I remember to actually put it... I think I'm going to put Collingwood by, I don't know, maybe 15 points or something. I think Collingwood do bounce back. I don't think they go to Brisbane. Yeah, we'll go by 15. I don't think they go to Brisbane 0-3. I think that'll be a really good contest if they go to Brisbane 0-3 and Brisbane are 0-2 off their bye. That'll be basically loser almost is loser is out of contention for top 4 basically. If they go 0-3, if they go 1-2, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily out of contention for the top 4. If they win, because 1-3, they're there and thereabouts. But if they're 2-2, going out of Brisbane, and Brisbane's home fortress is destroyed, then they'll definitely be still in the hunt 2-2. They'll only be two games behind, or one game behind of the top 4. So I don't think that would be too bad of a position for Collingwood. Then we have the Adelaide versus Geelong Friday night game. I think Adelaide at home will definitely get the job done. I don't know if they will necessarily, it will be a smashing. I think it will be Adelaide by 13 points. I definitely think this will be close. Adelaide get back Tex Walker. Geelong don't think have any guys coming back necessarily. They have Tanner Bruin, who is a test, even though he played on with a calf injury or whatever last game. And so, but I do think Adelaide will make Adelaide Oval a fortress. So I'm going to go with Adelaide by 13. Freo against North Melbourne. I think that you have to give both teams credit for what they did in round 1. North Melbourne, I thought that was going to be, what did I have them tipped? I had GWS tipped by 50 and they only won by 30 odd or whatever, from memory. And and Freo beat Brisbane. So I'm going to go Freo as a win, but I'm not going to go massive win. I'm going to go Freo by 28 points, because I do think the Freo are the better side, but I think North has something to build on. And I definitely think North, at least the bottom side, showed more to me in the first round than they did the whole last season. Other than that West Coast Eagles Bulldogs game where West Coast somehow won that game. Because in memory, remember that West Coast beat GWS in round 2. No one knows how that happened, but outside of that, they won 2 games or whatever, or 1 game. And North Melbourne were 2-0 or whatever to start, and then they basically didn't win another game. So except for the last round. So yeah, they're definitely showing a lot more fight, I think, and it's obviously early in the season, but I definitely think that those two sides should be better than last year, and they should maybe even get 4 to 5 wins. Then we have Hawthorn versus Melbourne. I think Melbourne are definitely doing a lot better. I think Hawthorn now with Sicily is back. He isn't going to have that 1 gamer. It was $2.5 grand fine, I think, instead. Did they have any injuries from that game? Don't think they did. But yeah, Hawthorn, they came up against Essendon and they were just, they were really inaccurate in front of goal, which cost them in the end. I don't think Melbourne will concede that many chances, and I just see Melbourne's midfield running over the top of the Hawthorn midfield. Even though we did see Hawthorn last year have a really strong midfield, I just think that combination of Gawn, Petrarca, Oliver, Viney, as well as I think Sparrow's out injured, so who else? Salem is in there as well, and I think that midfield is very, very strong. So I think I'm going to go Melbourne here by, I think, 27 points. Since I think Hawthorn get a reality check, let's put it that way. Their key defensive stocks are absolutely in tatters. Sydney Swans against Essendon. I think the Swans will win this game. We do seem to have a very, very close games with Essendon every single time. Like the last game last year, it was 101 to 99. We had that one where I was rewatching it again, where Gary Rowan kicked a goal after the siren to come back from 40 points or whatever in the last quarter, something dumb like that. So it seems like every single game, no matter the ladder position, it's almost like a derby at this point between Essendon and Sydney. And when you look at the odds, it's Sydney $1.15, Essendon $5.50. Odds are massively in the Swans' favour, but I think the Swans will struggle with this one, and I'm going to go Swans by 17 points. And I'll be happy if they absolutely blow them away, obviously, but if they don't blow them away, then I'm perfectly happy with just getting a win. Western Bulldogs versus Gold Coast. This one's a tight game again at Mars Stadium, and I just really like the way the Gold Coast midfield, the Gold Coast as a whole team and a whole club across everything, just seems to be in a lot more of a click than Western Bulldogs. So I'm going to go for the upset. 48% are predicting Gold Coast. I'm going to go for Gold Coast by 20 points. I just think that there is chaos around this whole Western Bulldogs report and everything around that. and I think Gold Coast are just going to click in gear and they're going to come away with the win. Then we have Richmond versus Port, and this one's actually, it's definitely an interesting one to look at, the dynamics of this one. Richmond coming off 2 losses, they're absolutely sort of smashed key defensive wise, and then also have some injuries elsewhere. So their team lineup could be absolutely messed up. So I'm looking at that. So I think Port get over the line. If Richmond were fully fit and had Gibcus, had Tyler Young, had Dion Prestia, had Tom Lynch firing, well, he was firing in round 1, had Dusty Martin firing as well, I think I would be picking Richmond maybe in that game if they had done that. But they just have so many injuries that I think that the new guys won't necessarily come in and perform to the standard that the other guys like Gibcus and stuff were. So I reckon that Port get over the line here, and Port by, I think in a close one, by 12 points. And then you have West Coast versus Giants. Last game of the round, I think this is an easy Giants victory. West Coast were more competitive, but they do have Oscar Allen out, so I'm going to go Giants by 50 points. Again, just another 50-pointer. I said that against North Melbourne, and I think Giants will win over in the West by 50 points. So those are my tips for the round. And so, yeah, hopefully another good score. It was top 3% last week in the ESPN Footy Tipping, ranked 22k, which is really good out of like 830 odd k. So really happy with that, and hopefully we can get another really good week and be in the top sort of 20,000 again. So yeah, that is the video on the tips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.